Blue Star at Home. I'm Cindy, and today I'm going to show you how to make gift card tags with IOD paint inlays. So come on, let's get started. Okay, today we're going to be working on our gift card tags from our gift card kit. And so let's go over the supplies that you're going to need for this little section. You're going to need the wood blank, and you're going to want to paint it in your choice of paint and color. This is Fusion's Victorian Lace. It's a really pretty soft white. I like Fusion because it's not a chalk paint, and so I don't have to worry about sealing it. But for this project, we're going to seal anyway, so you can use whatever brand of paint you want, whatever color. This particular inlay looks gorgeous on black, navy. You can do it on turquoise, greens, pinks. You pick your color for your purpose. So you're going to want your wood piece to be painted and dried and ready to go. You're going to need the little paint inlay that I sent you, and you'll notice that it has the image, the paint on one side and grid lines on the back. So the grid lines help you line it up, but it also helps you know front from back. We're going to be using Fusion's transfer gel to apply the inlay, and if you bought the kit, then you got a sample size of the transfer gel that we'll be using. You're going to need some kind of brush to apply. I tend to use a sponge brush, but any kind of brush works to apply the transfer gel. Then a damp washcloth. You might need a spray bottle if you have one. If you don't, a damp washcloth is sufficient. I frequently use a brayer, but again, if you don't have one, it's not a big deal. You can do it without a brayer. So let's get started. All right. So we're just going to put a generous coat of transfer gel on here. And there we go. Got it pretty thick. And then I'm going to take my paint inlay and place it face down on the wet transfer gel. Just like that. Then I'm going to take my damp cloth and get this a little bit more wet. And I'm just going to press so that I'm pressing that paint from the inlay into the wet transfer gel. And you see how it brightens up the color when I do that. And you can see the grid lines. It shows you that I've got the back down. So I'm just going to press that really well. Make sure I get all my edges. And then I'm going to leave that for about 15-20 minutes. So set your timer, and we're going to let that sit for about 15-20 minutes, and then we'll come back and see what happens next. Okay, I'm back. It's been about 15 minutes. I'm going to check on this. It's a little wet, which is fine. But what we can do is we can take a peek and see. Looky there. Look how great that is. It is ready to pull, it looks like. Let's check down here. Yep, I think it's ready. So since it started to dry, you want to re-wet the paper. So you can spritz it with water, or you can use your damp cloth. We're just trying to get that paper wet again. And then the magic happens. You're just going to pull this off. And I've got paper sticking over here on the edge. There we go. Look how pretty that is, though. Ah, yes. This is why I love transfer gel. I just get such a great impression every time, and it will, you're gonna have some variation. I missed a spot right here, but it's part of the rustic charm. You know, it's just, you're not gonna get perfect every time, but you're gonna get a version of beautiful every time. I'm gonna get that fuzz, paper fuzz off. So there we go. We are gonna let that sit and dry before we go on to our next step. Now, this piece that we took off, I've also laid it down. I'm gonna let it dry because it's reusable. You can reuse it. There is still paint on here, and you can reuse it 3 or 4 times. And every time you use it, it'll get more faded and more rustic looking. It's really a cool look as you repeat. But that's the application for the paint inlay. So we're gonna let that dry, and then we're gonna come back and start our embellishments. Okay, we are back. The paint inlay has now dried, and you can see how beautiful that inlaid into our paint. It's such a pretty design. This, even though I painted it on Fusion, which does not need a top coat, the paint, the proprietary paint in the paint inlays does need a top coat, and you don't want to brush on a top coat or wax because it will smear the paint. So you can do a setting coat and then come back in and do a top coat, or you can just do 2 coats of a setting coat. And for a little project like this, I've just sprayed it with a clear acrylic. Acrylic's not going to yellow, and so I use a clear acrylic to spray on my top coat. So this has been sprayed twice, and so it's ready for our next step. So our next step is going to be putting our pocket on. And your kit comes with 2 pieces of paper that are pre-cut, the size of the pocket, and they're both cut the same size. So you can choose to use one or the other, or you can use both and layer them over each other. How cute is that? So if that's your choice, then you need to trim one of the pieces of paper, the one that will be on top, a 1/2 inch on one side, a 1/2 inch on the other. And that will help you layer them. So I've already cut some paper and trimmed it. So this is what it looks like when you've cut a 1/2 inch, a 1/2 inch on one piece of paper. It's gonna look like this. So my first step is gonna be to glue this piece onto this one. You can use any kind of glue. I happen to keep tacky glue on my workbench all the time, so I'm just going to put some glue on here. And I usually use a silicone brush to kind of spread my glue around so it's not lumpy, and get it to the edges well and all that stuff. So, okay. And then this is going to go in the center of my green paper, just like that. Isn't that adorable? Okay, glued on, ready to go. Okay, now we're going to glue this onto the piece, and I brought a gift card just so I make sure that I don't glue it down so tight that the gift card won't slide in. So it's going to fit about like that. Okay, so now I'm going to put a bead of paint around the gift card and make sure that you kind of know where your paper ends so that you don't extend your glue too far. So there we go. And I might spread this out toward the edge a bit. There we go. And this is going to glue in place right about there. Cute, cute, cute. Okay. Now then, we're gonna let that dry. And while that's drying, we've got our next step. In your kit, you'll get one casting from an IOD mold, and it's just assorted. I have a bunch of cute little castings, different ones. So you'll get one that we're gonna glue in the center. How cute is that? But first we need to paint it. So while the glue dries, I'm going to paint this, and I've picked out a green that I think coordinates well with this particular color scheme, and it will look good on the pink. And it is Fusion's Upper Canada Green. I keep all my paint in these little easy dispense bottles. These are fantastic. So, a little bit of paint. This is gonna look so cute. I'm using a Stahlmeister artist brush that I keep on hand for these little craft projects that are so fun. So, and see what great coverage this has. It's going to be awesome. Get inside my little keyhole right there. There we go. Okay, one coat of paint. We're gonna let that dry and do a second coat, and then we're gonna glaze it. So hang tight, we're almost done. Okay, so this now has 2 coats of paint and it's dried. And so we are ready to glaze. Now, typically when I'm glazing things, I like for my paint to dry for 24 hours, but I haven't on this piece, but I did use a heat gun, or if you have a hair dryer, you can speed up the drying process and get it to dry faster. So that's what I've done here. I'm going to be using Fusion's Antique Glaze. You can use any glaze you want. Well, come on, baby. There we go. You can even use a clear glaze and add paint to it to make your own custom color. Lots of options. But it's just an antique glaze. I'm gonna brush it on. It's thin and it's sheer. And you don't have to be neat. You don't have to worry about brush strokes. You don't have to worry about globs. Just slap it on there. There we go. And over here. All right, everything's got a coat of glaze. I usually use a baby wipe. You can use a damp cloth, just whatever. And we're gonna just come in and wipe off the excess, and it will leave the glaze down in all the crevices. So it really highlights all that carving. And that's how easy that is. So all glazed and ready to go. The glaze takes longer to dry, so we're going to put the heat gun on it again and speed up the drying process, because our next step is to glue this onto our tag. So, but it turned out pretty, don't you think? Yep, love it. Okay, now we're ready to wrap this up. I put this under the heat gun and got it fairly dry. It's dry enough to glue on. So I'm just gonna Put some glue on the back here. Maybe brush it around to spread it a little bit. You can get these silicone brushes on Amazon. They're awesome. Okay, and then I think I'm gonna put mine this way or this way. No, I think I like it better this way. Here we go. Just kind of press it into place. Yeah, isn't that cute? Cute little pocket for my gift card. How darling is that? Okay, now your kit is going to come with a piece of jute. You can swap it out with ribbon or lace or leave it off completely. That's kind of your choice. Let's see if I can get this threaded in here. Come on, baby, go. Go, go, go. There we go. And I'll just tie a knot at the top. And there you have it. The cutest little gift card holder. Doesn't have to be for a gift card. You could stick some money down in there. You could put a sweet note. You could use it as a tag on a present and put, you know, a little to and from note inside. But darling, darling, got room on the back. You can write a message or sign your name since you've handcrafted this. So I hope that you have loved this process. It's really fun, but it's simple, and I hope it helps you not be intimidated about using the paint inlays because you saw how easy they are to use. So all of the supplies are available at bluestarathome.com, and happy to help you in any way we can. Thanks for joining us today. Bye. You can purchase everything you see here in the gift card kit from bluestarathome.com. I'll include a link in the comments below.